Hey guys, how you doing? Glad you are joining us on day 5 of our training. After we complete today's training, we will be halfway through because we've got 12 total units or lives that we're doing, and this is the 6th one. So you're almost halfway through, which is awesome and amazing. There is a great group of ladies in this group right now that's training. Lots of great information to glean from everybody. So I'm excited for it myself to get to learn from all these great leaders as well. So I hope you guys are loving it. If you guys are loving it, just throw up a WW for Wonder Women, because I think we're all Wonder Women here, both the trainers on here and all of you consultants that are on ready to further your business. I think you guys are doing an amazing job. So just throw up a WW if you think that we are all just Wonder Women here doing this. So hi Kimberly, welcome. So we're going to get started because I tend to be long-winded and I really don't want to talk too much. I want to try to keep it in that 30 minutes. This is kind of nerve-wracking with all of you guys here, which is kind of funny, but to this day, I've been doing Norwex for 4.5 years now. Hey Janet, yay, WW. I've been doing Norwex for 4.5 years, and everyone always says, when do you get to a point where you feel really comfortable and you don't feel nervous? And I always tell my consultants, never. I still cannot eat 2 to 3 hours prior to a party because my stomach is literally in knots. Hey Christy, once parties get going, once everyone's getting there, I totally move into my vibe and I'm in my zone. I'm in my happy spot to share about Norwex. But leading up to it, the anxiety is massive for me. So a lot of people find it kind of funny. They're like, you are an introvert? And I actually am an introvert. I can turn it on when I need to, but holy cow, after party presentation, I need to be like, pull it all back together and kind of regroup myself. And it takes 24 hours to kind of get back on track. So I kind of feel that way with this live group with all of you because there's a lot of you guys. So move notifications. All right, so you guys, my name is Kendra. I am married to my high school sweetheart. Hey, Tiffany. We have 4 kiddos. Our youngest is in 2nd grade. We have 3 boys that are youngest, and our oldest is a girl. So we've got 2nd grade, 6th grade, freshman in high school, and junior in high school. Our youngest has special needs, so he keeps us kind of busy and on our toes. Hi, Tiffany. He had a bad reaction to a vaccine when he was 2 months old, and he went completely limp. And I kept saying something was wrong to the doctor because he was my 4th, and I knew by then. And he kept saying, we'll look at the next checkup, we'll look at the next checkup. And so finally, at 8 months, the doctor said he had moderate diffuse hypotonia, which really just means severe low muscle tone. It wasn't until he was 3 years old that a neurologist in Georgia said he has cerebral palsy. And so our life kind of flipped upside down at 8 months old when they said what he had, and we started with a lot of therapies. And we were doing 8 therapies a week. And I started to consider what could we be doing differently in our home. Hey, Darlene, to make it a safer, healthier environment for him so we're not hindering any of his progress. And we started to go to a chiropractor. We learned all about this toxicity, this toxic environment that we live in, and enter Norwex. I went to a party and I left. I didn't buy anything. I thought they were all crazy. I work in the hospital. I'm an OB-GYN ultrasound tech, so I do that 1 day a week. But we clean with those massive tubs of disinfectant wipes. So I went home to research Norwex, kind of fell in love with what I read. I really enjoyed that they had been around as long as they had. It wasn't a fly by the seat of your pants kind of company. And so I decided to give Norwex a try, and I bought a couple products. 2 weeks later, you know the story, you hear this a lot, I bought some more, and then that very same day, it was February 28th of 2014, I signed up as a consultant just for the discount. And I said I would never grow a team, I'm not gonna do this, but I had a launch party a week later. It was a $1,000 launch party, and I had 5 bookings. And I said, hon, I think this is the answer to our prayer. This is how we're gonna pay for our daughter to go to private school. And that's when it all began. So I started as just a part-time consultant. Hey, Caroline. Part-time consultant, and I enjoyed doing that for 2 years, and then I decided I wanted to earn the trips, and I can't do that on 2 or 3 parties a month. I needed to do 6 to 8, and so I upped it to full-time and went ahead and earned that Panama trip and now the Maui trip, and now this is considered my full-time job, and I just get to do the hospital 1 day a week, which is fantastic. So anyways, we are going to talk about our home party basics today. Some of the things you may be hearing from previous consultants, some you may be hearing from some other consultants in the next couple days. So I'm not going to go into too much of the hostess coaching part because you heard that from Carrie Ann, my girl, yesterday, right? So let's just go ahead and dive right in. First of all, I want to say, for home parties, it is so important to think less is more. When I go to my home parties, I go with the Norwex Foundation Canvas Tote, this bag. This one I keep all of my catalogs in. I keep in my pens, order forms. I do have some extra products in there as well. And then I have, 31 has those large utility totes. I used to have that. I'm down to the medium. So this is a heavy one. There we go. Can you see that? This is my medium utility tote. So I've gotten even smaller with that. And I can't tell you how many times I have had my host say, that's it? That's all you brought in? I had a Pampered Chef girl come and she had bags and bags and bags of all these heavy pots and pans and everything, right? And I would say, nope, just these 2 bags. I like to keep it simple and easy. And there's been multiple consultants who have joined because they said, I realized how easy it was and you only had a couple of bags. So really consider what you are bringing to demo at your parties. Less is more. You always want to leave them wanting more and a reason to book a party, right? So think about that right off the bag, right? We don't want to have a ton of stuff that we carry in with us. All right, so I made a bunch of notes so that I stay on track. Hey, Katie. So all of these notes, don't write them down. I will post these notes so you have the general outline. It will go in the unit. So just take this in, enjoy it, take some tidbits away, okay? All right, so I always check in with my host 2 days prior. I know Carrie Ann talked yesterday about hostess coaching. I do need to catch up on her video, so she may have talked about this already. 2 days prior, I ask if there's anything else that the host needs from me, and I also ask her if there's anything in particular she wants me to demo. She knows I'm going to be doing the basic. I'm doing usually our top 10 products. I'm doing a joint part with her. Yeah, okay, she's going to have a ton of stuff, I'm sure, so it makes it a lot easier. I can't see the rest of the notes, but I'll be able to see them once I'm done with this. So I ask her if there's anything else she needs from me and what else she would like me to demo. So I'm usually asking if there's 1 or 2 other items that they want me to demo that I'm going to bring with. Oftentimes I'll hear the bath towel, so that's something easy I can throw in my bag and have that with me. I also give them a text image that they can send a reminder to those who have RSVP'd yes, saying, can't wait to see you at the party Tuesday night. And then I give her another one saying, can't wait for my party Tuesday night. I haven't heard from you and I'm planning on food. Can I count on seeing you? So then it gives a reason for that host to respond back. We've just downsized her. Yay for downsizing the demo bags. So then it gives that one who has not RSVP'd a reason because she's going to feel bad if this host is trying to plan food, right? So I like to do that. Then the day before, I just check back in with the host and I say, what is our guest count at? So that I can plan catalogs and giveaways. I don't want to be like, how many guests are we having? Because I want to know how much money am I making tonight, right? So I just ask, I want to plan out how many catalogs I'm bringing and what I'm going to use for my giveaways. And so then she'll usually give me a guest count and confirm where you're going, because there was one time I didn't end up having to go there. I found out ahead of time. I did confirm the date where we were going and it was not the right location. So always confirm the address of where you're going to be driving to make sure. All right, arrive early. You can determine the time. I used to arrive 30 minutes early, and then it kind of felt like there was that awkward time, especially for me, the introvert, to like do that small talk. I was like, oh, this feels really uncomfortable. And I realized that I set up so fast because I don't have anything that is complicated, right? So I'm usually 15 to 20 minutes, and I tell them 15 to 20 minutes. I always put it in my app on my phone to plan out ahead of time, and I usually try like the week prior to say, if I'm going on a Friday evening and it's a 6:30 party, I will put it in, 5 o'clock, 4:30 to see the drive time, because it changes, at least for us here in the Chicagoland area, with traffic. So what can be a 20-minute drive at one day, at rush hour on Friday, it's going to now be a 50-minute to an hour drive. That happens a lot. So be aware of what that time is, because I never, ever, ever want to be late, but I always like to be early. So I do 15 to 20 minutes early. That gives me plenty of time to be able to set up. So offer to help the host when you are set up. My setup, it's a matter of 10 minutes. Whenever they ask, what do you need? Do you need me to bring out a card table? Do you need a coffee table? I always tell them whatever you have there is going to be fine for me. If I have to pop a squat on the floor, totally cool, totally chill. This is really relaxed. I don't need anything fancy. Oftentimes I'll just use the little ledge in front of the TV, and I just don't want my host ever feel like they have to go above and beyond. So I like it just to be very super simple. All right, do not bring the whole catalog. I said that earlier. Plan on doing either a Safe Haven package party or the top 10. The top 10 is a really easy, basic one to go through. This Safe Haven one is a super easy one to go through as well, with all of our basic items really that you want to talk about. and you don't need to bring more products than just those, okay? You want to make the guests see that they want to know more about other products. This is when they say, if they ask a question and you don't have it there, you can say, hey, I don't have that ergonomic brush with me, but I can bring it to your house when you host a party. Just remind me at checkout when we pick a date, right? So get that booking seat in there right away if someone is asking about a particular product. Mingle with the guests and blend in. I love it when we start the party and they go, oh, you're the consultant. And I say, yep, I'm the consultant. And they have no idea. And that's the best way. Hey, Melissa, I love that I can just blend right in with them and that I'm not standing out or feeling awkward or anything like that. So as everybody's coming in, I'm just standing in the kitchen or wherever they are, having a drink. It's usually water. I don't have a glass of wine until after my party if the host is offering it to me. But I'm having a glass of water with them and chatting, finding out about them. This is the time that you want to find out. Do they have kids? Do they have pets? Do they have a part-time job? Do they have a full-time job? Usually I'm asking, do you have a job? If they have kids, I say, do you have a job other than being a stay-at-home mom, working all of that outside of the home? Because that is a huge job, and I never want anyone to feel like that is less, because that is like the most important job I feel like I have, is being that mom here at home with my kiddos. So that's what I'm going to find out. Who are these people that I'm dealing with? You know, are they environmentally conscious? Are they really more concerned about saving time? Do they have house cleaners? Because I need to know this so that when I'm talking about these products, I'm catering it towards them. These are things that as you are newer, you're not thinking about yet, but start to put that in the back of your mind so that you start to incorporate some of these ideas into your party. A lot of times you just want to get through, say what the product information is, and move on to the end and check out, because you're like, did I get it all in? But as you get comfortable with your presentation, these are the parts that are going to start to come more naturally for you, but right now you may be practicing them and they may feel totally awkward when you're doing it, okay? I give everyone a pen and a catalog and an order form right when they get there. I put the order form, I just tuck it into the back of the catalog. You know, the way I do things, you may take out a couple things, say, that's awesome, I want to try that. You may have another way that works for you. That's the beauty of this business. We all get to run our businesses our own way. So when I started, I tried using these little binder clips to put my catalogs under. That was when we had these little tiny catalogs and not the large ones. Then I had the binder folders that we cut the spine out, and I would put the catalog in, the order form, a little bookmark. It was just a lot of stuff. And again, I realized less is more. I don't want to lug all that stuff. And I can simply just hand them the catalog with the order form tucked to the package special, which is currently page 50 and 51, and a pen, and that's it. So I hand them that when they're all sitting down. And I say, go ahead, you can use this catalog. You can write any notes on it. It's yours to take home when we're all done if you would like to. If you don't want to take it home with you, that's fine. You can turn it back in, but feel free to write notes on it as I go along. So they get that right away. And then after they sit down, I thank everyone for coming. I thank the host, and I share what we're going to be doing tonight. So I want to kind of give them an overview so I'm not catching them off guard, right? So we're going to have some fun tonight while I share Norwex and how it can save you time and money while also protecting your health and the environment. So let's just dive right in. And then I start with Norwex started in 1994. I talk about the mission and how it all started with one little cloth. I used to talk about my why in the beginning. I don't do that anymore. I don't want to bore them right off the bat. I want to get into that part later when I'm talking about the business opportunity. So once I start saying that it all started with this one little cloth, I take out that Enviro cloth and I take out another cheap microfiber cloth. Mine, let's see here. So this is the one I got from the store, like maybe a hardware store or something, right? So I pass this around with our Enviro cloth. And for me, I like to talk about the basics and what sets ours apart, okay? You can get cutesy with your intro, and you can do games. You can say, how do you know the host? Say one thing that you, how you would describe the host. I've tried that in the beginning. It wasn't me. It wasn't my comfort zone at all. So I've just done away with that. Most of my parties are 2 hours to 3 hours max. I try to be done in and out at 2 hours. And a couple people are always really surprised that I can do it that fast. But I really just want to share the basics and allow that time afterwards for guests to mingle with themselves if they want to. Sometimes the party's all done, I am staying and mingling, and I'm happy to stay there for another hour or two. If that's me getting to know somebody better and building that connection, that pays off in the long run for a potential recruit down the road, right? Because you're spending that time with them. So that's super important. Products that I talk about in general: household pack, UPP and Fluff and Tumble, the mop and the brush. I don't talk about all the different pads. I just talk about the ones that come in the Superior mop system. And then I do a break for demos. I do the butter demo, the chicken demo, the blue diamond on a penny, and I'm going to be talking about these more, the cleaning paste demo. And then we come back and sit down and we do additional items: the mattress spray, kitchen cleaning products, spear sponge, kitchen cloth and counter cloths, and then my favorite product, which is the body cloth. That's what I end at. So those are the items that I talk about. So we're going to break these down a little bit. I like to compare our EnviroCloth, like I was saying, to the standard microfiber cloth. If anyone is just hopping on now, all these notes, don't take them. I'm going to post them in our unit so you guys can print this out and follow along. Again, if you want to read this back or watch this back, this will all be printed out, so you don't have to worry about writing anything down. Isn't that nice? So I talk about the three main differences. If it is a crowd that I know is more eco-friendly and eco-minded, I will let them know there are four main differences. My three main differences that I talk about: the size of microfiber. I let them know to be considered microfiber. It has to be 1/6 of a human hair. I say, imagine your hair split lengthwise 6 times. That's how thin microfiber is. But ours is guaranteed to be 1/200th. And there was an article that I read about how fire stations are using microfiber to clean because microfiber can pick up more contaminants, and the finer it is, the more it will pick up. And so I let people know, the finer our microfiber is, the more contaminants and more dirt and debris it can pick up, which is fantastic, and that's why I love Norwex. I talk about the density of it. I say how we have 10 million feet of fiber in this cloth. I explain that it's just from Canada all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, so it's a lot of fiber that's packed into that cloth. So it's going to hold 7 times its weight in water, so it's going to be super dense and great for cleaning. And I say the third main thing that sets us apart from other microfiber cloths is the microsilver. And I tell them, think of it as liquid. It's your coffee cream, your creamer going into your coffee. Once it's in, you cannot separate it. This is liquid microsilver with liquid polyester extruded out as a solid strand. It's not going to come out of it. I say there have been some companies that have tried to duplicate what we're doing, but they use a nano silver. They spray it on the surface, but that will eventually wash off and go into the environment, and that's not good. So we want our microsilver staying in our cloth, so we don't use a nano silver. We use a microsilver, and that's really important. Now, if I know this is a really green-minded, eco-friendly kind of group, I let them know one of the other concerns is microfiber pollution in the water. And microfiber pollution doesn't just mean these microfiber cloths. It's anything that is made from a synthetic fiber. They tend to break down more. And then I let them know that even Patagonia came out with a statement saying to not wash their items, their clothes, as frequently, so the cloth doesn't break down and the microfibers break apart and go into the waterway. So think any of your sweatshirts with that micro fleece lining on there, all those North Face jackets, all of your cheap polyester pajamas, all of that breaks apart and can go into the waterway. So one of the lovely things about Norwex is that we're such a high grade microfiber. Unlike when you go to the big box stores and you come out with a big case of microfiber, that's going to break apart really quickly. Ours is going to last a really long time, and we're only going to have to wash it once a week, which is fantastic. And I'm going to talk more about how we clean our microfiber later. Okay, so those are the 3 and 4 main things I do when I talk about the microfiber. I pass it around. I say we use this wet tip clean everything, means we're going to pick up everything and remove it from the surface, and then we're going to follow up with this purple window cloth. And I tell them, look at the tag on here, because you're going to see this says window, this one says Enviro, this is E for everything. We're going to use this on every surface. The only space that Norwex would not want you to use that microfiber on is anything with an anti-glare surface or an aftermarket tint. So think car windows with an aftermarket tint that is applied to the window. Norwex doesn't recommend using those items on that. So I'll pass that around. I say we use our purple polished cloth dry. It's our window cloth. So it's our Bert and Ernie. You can't use one without the other. It's our perfect peanut butter and jelly, perfect spouse pair. You want to make sure you're using these 2 together. One is going to be picking up and removing, leaving no residue behind on the surface. One is going to keep it nice and shiny and streak free. Pass those around, they're feeling them. Then I use the dust mitt, and I tell everybody, with the dust mitt, adding it to these 2 cloths, this is our trifecta. These 3 items together are going to take care of cleaning 90% of your home, and you're not going to need all those extra paper towels, all those extra chemical cleaners, all that kind of stuff. But I would say it's really important to take your dust mitt, fold it in half, rub it against itself, create that electrostatic charge so that when you're dusting, everything is attracted to the dust mitt. When you use your microfiber wet, it's using capillary action, holding everything into the cloth. When you're using it dry, you're using electrostatic charge to attract everything to the surface. I always explain you can dust with one, but it makes it even better when you dust with two. And once these sides get dirty, you just switch your dust mitts to the other hand, and now you have another clean surface to go from, right? So I pass that around. I talk about other ways you can use the dust mitt. Instead of just using it dry for dusting, you can use it wet for cleaning window screens to get all the dirt and debris and pull that out. I talk about how my boys, when I take them, it's a Bert and Ernie, and so when I take my boys to get their hair cut, all the little pieces of hair on the back of their neck, you can just use that dust mitt to brush it off, which is fantastic. Oh, yay, Kimberly, I'm glad you're learning lots. You can also use it for dusting the sand off. If you go to the beach, I hate wiping the sand off the legs. It's just sticking, it's sticking to your hands, it sticks everywhere. So just use the dust mitt to clean that off. There's so many uses for the dust mitt, so I love talking about it, and I always say you really want to get two because it's better with two, right? All right, see, now I wasn't looking at my notes, and I don't want to miss anything. Oh yeah, the other thing is I talk about with the microfiber, I say it's like a vacuum. So a lot of people don't understand why we don't need to use chemicals. And I say that microfiber is acting like the vacuum, where paper towels, disinfectant wipes, and cotton cloths are acting like a broom. It's pushing everything around. So microfiber is picking up and removing from the surface, so there's nothing left behind on the surface for us to have to sanitize. And so I said it's a mechanical action of picking up and removing instead of brushing around. I also get a little joke I get a little laugh out of people when I say, this is the European model of cleaning, picking up and removing everything from the surface instead of the American standard way, which is spraying everything and hoping you've used enough disinfectant spray to kill everything, but then if you've killed everything, now you've left a crime scene behind because you've got your dead bacteria everywhere, and everyone's like, oh, that's really gross. So I like to say we're not leaving that behind, which is great, and you don't have to worry about what's there. So that's, I weave that in the beginning because I think it's so important for everyone to understand how our microfiber is working and what it's doing so they can see the value in it, because someone may look at it and go, I don't want to pay $17 to $20 for a cloth, that's crazy. But when they can see that they're picking up and removing and they don't need to put something back down on the surface, they don't need to use more paper towels, more disinfectant wipes, more sprays, that their cost savings is going to come in the long run, they need to be able to see that and understand that, right? Okay, so after I go through all of our microfiber, make sure you're dropping your booking seeds throughout. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how I do those using the solution cards in a little bit. Then I go into the how to care for the cloths. Inevitably, there is somebody who, after I talk about the EnviroCloth, they'll say, oh, let me know, how do you clean this? What do we have to do with this? And I always say, that's a great question. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. I don't want to get moved off track from where I'm at. I know my routine, I want to stay on my routine, so let them know it's a great question. You're going to answer that later so that you can stay on track too, right? So after I talk about that household package, I go into the use and care. I talk about the UPP and I talk about the fluff and tumble dryer balls. I really don't mention the liquid laundry detergent unless someone is really asking about it, and then I can go ahead and mention it then. I tell them that if you are going to use a liquid laundry detergent, it's best to use it in cold or warm water. You don't want to use it in hot water because it is an enzyme and you don't want to kill that enzyme, break that down. I say you may end up with a stinky smell. So we do have the other enzyme cleaners, and we're going to talk about some of those, and you're going to understand a little bit of the difference. I say that my UPP, my Ultra Power Plus, is what I've been using for 4.5 years. So there's no reason for me to change because I've been using it and loving it without any issue. I do let them know, I say, raise your hand if you have a high efficiency, and raise your hand if you have a standard washing machine. I let them know with a high efficiency, most consultants can get away with using a 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of detergent. So I'd say take out the scooper and throw it away and put in a 1/2 teaspoon measuring cup, or use the scooper and make a little mark on it where 1/2 a teaspoon is and a full teaspoon is. And then I tell those with the standard washing machine, it's a 1/2 tablespoon to 1 tablespoon per load. Softer your water, the less you need, the harder your water, the more you need. And so that's what I'm always explaining in the beginning. So I say get rid of that scooper because you'll be using too much if you do the regular amount that it says on the bag. And I always say that this is from our experience. Other ways that I like to use the UPP, I add 1 teaspoon in an 8-ounce spray bottle of water, and it's a great all-purpose cleaner. So if you are sitting here listening to me thinking I'm absolutely crazy for telling you that you can use a cloth and water to wipe and clean all these surfaces, feel free to put some of the detergent in there. It's great for cutting the grease on your stovetop. You can spray it on. You'll feel like you're using your regular chemical sprays and you're not. You can even add a little bit of essential oil to it so you have a smell to it so you're not missing that. Spray it down and you can wipe it clean with your Enviro cloth and window cloth. So I always talk about with 3 boys, the grout around our toilet is not always so pretty, and my favorite used to be scrubbing bubbles, and so I'd spray around and then I would clean it and be nice and white again. But now I can just use that diluted UPP, spray it on, wipe it clean with an Enviro cloth. The more you use the products, the more you're going to have your stories to incorporate in. Try to stick to using your stories as most as possible, because that's your stories are going to sell it, right? It's not saying this is the best thing ever. They want to know, how do you use it? How has it worked for you? What has it done for you? So until you have enough experience with some of these products, you can use what other consultants are saying, but you're going to want to eventually make it your own, because your stories are you, they're real. Sometimes I feel like a broken record. I say the same little jokes. I have the same stories at every single party, but everybody's not at these parties every single time. So it is okay to be able to say those same things over and over and over. Okay, so after I do the UPP and Fluff and Tumble, I do talk about the mop system. That's a booking C for sure. So I talk about the mop system. I show how to use it. I let them know that with the mop dust pad, just like our dust mitt, I fold it in half. I rub it against itself to create that electrostatic charge. That is our dust mitt for the floor. Then when it's time to wash it, the blue mop pad, I say yellow, sunshine, dry, and I say blue, water, wet, okay? So then I say, just get it wet under the faucet like this, fold it in half, I roll it up, I wring it out so it's just damp. I don't want it sopping wet. This is our Enviro cloth for the floor. So they get that. I just talked about the dust mitt and the Enviro cloth. They understand then what the mop system is doing. I let them know the rubber brush is a must-have. It's fantastic for the mop. It's also great for our entry mat. You can also use it to clean all those little bubbles underneath your bath mat in the bathroom. I can use that to scrub that down. I let them know I use it to clean off my carpet floor mats in the car. I can just take them out, hose them down, sprinkle on some UPP. I use the rubber brush and I scrub over it. It's another great use for that rubber brush. It is a must-have with your mop system. And I let them know, after you pull off all the dust and dirt and debris from your dry dusting pad, you will not need to fold in half again to create that electrostatic charge, because you will have done that with the rubber brush, okay? After that, that's when I want people to get up and get their blood moving. You know, we want that circulation again, and we don't want people dozing off. So I say, okay, everybody, let's get up. Let's see how some of these products work. We typically move to the kitchen. I have the Norwex cutting board there with Blue Diamond. I have the cleaning paste there. It's a little whiteboard paddle. Let me see if I can find it. It's a little whiteboard paddle. It was from the dollar store. I got this at Leadership Conference 2015. My upline, Melissa Thomas, gave this to me. So I have these little squiggles of Sharpie marker on here that I put on ahead of time, because if I were to do it right there at the party, I could wipe it off right away with the Enviro cloth. You need to let it set and dry. So I keep that up there as well. And I have a dirty penny, and I use, I have butter. Parquet, okay, parquet. This. I have had this for over 4 years, which is absolutely disgusting, and I always tell people buy this and put it on their food and put it in their body. And I say this sits in my car and has not changed consistency or smell or anything. It's disgusting, but this is what I use. I used to use butter, but honestly, I would leave the butter in the car and it would get moldy, and so I'd have to throw away another pat of butter. So 1 bottle of parquet, that's all I've been using. We get up to the kitchen, I spray it on the window, I use the Enviro cloth, I wipe it clean, and then wipe with the purple polish cloth. Super easy. They're already going ooh and ah. Then we go over and I talk about the Blue Diamond, how we use it to clean the bathroom. I say we like to just dilute it. This is ultra concentrated. We can use it on all surfaces in the bathroom except for natural stones. So no granite, no marble, and you don't want to use it on any brushed surfaces. So if you have a brushed bronze or polished bronze, something like that, you don't want to use it on that. And if you have copper, you don't want to use it on the copper because you don't want to ruin the patina. But otherwise, you can use it on porcelain tubs, ceramic tile, your faucet, your sink. You can use it around the base of your toilet. And I like to use just a couple drops inside the toilet bowl because it's getting diluted in there. And then I can use our toilet brush to clean the inside of the toilet bowl. This is our everything cleaner. This is gonna cut your soap scum. It's gonna cut some lime scale. And this is safe for you to use, unlike other bathroom cleaners where you would spray, turn on the fan, and then you would walk out while it airs out, right? So they all say, yes, I understand. We all do that. I say, who here turns on the fan in their bathroom after they've sprayed and they walk out for 10 minutes? And everyone is raising their hand because we all know. We've been there, done that. I used to do that all the time. But now I say I can give this spray bottle of diluted Blue Diamond to my kids and an EnviroCloth and a window cloth, and they can clean the entire bathroom. And I do not have to worry about what they're inhaling or what they're touching. It's totally safe for them. So I say, here's this little penny, and if I know I have a big group, sometimes I'll have a couple pennies, and I'll put it right in their hand, and I'll say, you know, this Blue Diamond, this is what we use for cleaning our toilet. Toilet bowl cleaner is one of the top toxins in our home, and we can use this, and I'm gonna put some on your hand, and you're gonna see it's not corrosive, it's not gonna burn your skin, and I put a little drop on each penny, and they all see right away that it's getting it all nice and shiny. They're all offering it around going, oh my gosh, look how great and shiny this is. And they absolutely love it. So that's how I demo the Blue Diamond. I offer the free brush if anyone buys them up. Yeah. I used to do that. I don't anymore because I just tell them you have to have it. And then I don't have to give it away for free anymore, and it works just fine. So yes, that's something in the beginning. Yeah, you can use that for incentives, or even if you book a party, you can get your mop for free or your brush for free as well, Kimberly. So any kind of incentives you guys want to do, totally up to you guys to do them. I do incentives when I need them, and it depends on what I need, whether I need bookings, whether I need more people at my parties, whether I need higher sales. So that's a whole other training topic. All right, so then after that, I do the cleaning paste. I let them know this is elbow grease in a jar. I'm gonna show you what happens with Sharpie marker when you need a little extra oomph. Your cleaning paste is there for it. And I say, does anybody use Barkeeper's Friend or Comet or Soft Scrub? And everyone will, yeah, I use Comet, or I use Barkeeper's Friend, or usually I get the laughs about the Comet because that's what I grew up using, because my mom did and my grandma used it, and we sprinkled it on everything. You know, you'd wet the whole tub down, you'd sprinkle it all over. We used it on everything. And I say, this is really just your equivalent of your Comet, Barkeeper's Friend, and Soft Scrub. You can use it the same kind of way. You do not want to use it on brushed stainless steel though, and I let them know that. And I always say to test in an inconspicuous area first. And so then I just take a wet EnviroCloth and I clean off that Sharpie marker, and they're all like, oh my gosh, I need that. And I've got a spot where my kid actually put that Sharpie marker. So love demoing it that way. Then the last thing I do is the chicken demo. I always explain to people that at my first party, and again, this is my story that is, you know, unique for me and my story. I say my first party that I went to, they did the chicken demo first, and then they cleaned off the slider with the butter with the same cloth, and I was freaking out thinking, oh my gosh, there's chicken juice all over their window. What are you guys doing? And I said I couldn't concentrate on the rest of the party because I was just staring at that slider going, somebody needs to go clean that off because that's so disgusting. So everybody gets a little chuckle out of that, and I say that's why I'm saving this one for the end, because I want you guys to make sure you're fully understanding how awesome and powerful our microfiber is. And I say, does everybody understand that this is doing the mechanical action of picking up and removing everything so there's nothing left behind on our surface? And they all say, okay, yes, I get it, I get it. So then I do our demo with the swab, with the chicken swab or protein test swab. When I do the protein demo, I only use one swab. I used to do it with two, but it was more money, so why not just use one if you can? I would take my raw chicken, I rub it on our Norwex cutting board. I used to do it on countertops, whatever was available to me, or a plate. But if you ever notice with those protein swabs, they can leave a residue behind. So I saw somebody, it wasn't my own, it wasn't anybody on my team, but I saw someone who had done this demo on a stainless steel refrigerator, and the residue was left behind from the protein swab. I never ever want to ruin anybody's appliance, especially their stainless steel refrigerator. So I just do it on my cutting board. You should have a smooth surface. It has never failed me. It's smooth enough, and I've been able to wipe it clean every time, no problem. So I rub my chicken on there. I use my folded up EnviroCloth. Here we go. So I like to use the tag side, and I tell them, you know, look at the side. This is the side I'm gonna use. And I wipe it clean. I tell them, wipe it flat, because if you have a bunch of pockets in here, then there may be areas that you're gonna miss, right? So I wipe over it smooth, I swab the area, I tell them this is testing for protein, which is smaller than bacteria. We're just trying to show you that we can pick up and remove what is here on the surface. If it stays green, it's clean. If it's gray or any shade of purple, there is the presence of protein. This is something health inspectors use for testing the cleanliness of kitchen counters in restaurants. That's it. I don't want to get into specifics of bacteria versus protein. I just want them to understand and come to their own conclusion in their mind. Protein is smaller than bacteria. We're picking up the protein. Bacteria feeds off the protein. If there isn't anything there, we don't have the bacteria growing, right? So after I do that, I just tell them, remember I said earlier how this cloth, it uses capillary action when it's wet. It pulls everything and holds onto it in the core. Typically at this point, we would rinse this cloth off, hang it up to dry. You can go ahead and use it the next day, but I just want to show you how well it holds on to everything. I don't say it's not going to cross-contaminate, because we're not allowed to say that. That is not compliant. I don't want to say anything about that. I want to say, hey, just this holds on to everything so well. Let me just show you. I'm going to rub it back on the surface again. I rub it back down, take that swab, I rub it over the surface, shake it up. I say, see, we're still green, we're still clean, okay? But let me show you what would happen if we actually had protein present. So then I'll take the swab and I rub it right on the chicken. And I just have it in one of those little Pampered Chef glass bowls. And I have the mug lid sitting on top of it, and I have it in a plastic bag. I keep reusing the same one over and over. So I put the swab in there, I rub it on the chicken, pull it out, put it back in, shake it up, and it turns purple pretty much just immediately, right? And they go, oh. I'm like, isn't that amazing, guys? You didn't have to use these disinfectant wipes that you would normally have to leave your surface visibly wet for at least 4 minutes for it to disinfect. All you had to use was a wet Norwex microfiber cloth, and that's it. And I do explain to them in the beginning of the presentation that the microsilver, the purpose is to inhibit the growth and odor of bacteria, the mildew, the funky smell that you get on your cloth. And I'll go, yeah. I say, you don't get that with this. But I always tell them, use your nose, that's the test. If it's starting to get funky smelling, you've coated all the microsilver with the grease and dirt and whatnot, so it's time to wash your cloth because the microsilver isn't being effective. You need to clean off the grease, and they totally understand that and get it, okay? All right, so after I do the demos, I say, let's go sit back down. We're gonna do some giveaways, and then they get all excited. And then I pass out the green and purple cards and the index cards. These are the solution cards, right? So the green and purple ones. The purple ones are all about the environmental impact. The green ones are the business ones. So I usually go to party with them stacked already like this. So I can just pull 2 off the pack and pass it out. And I give them an index card as well, just like this, okay? And so then after they get all of that, I say, all right, let's take the card and I want you to hold it vertical. Let's see. Oh wait, first before I do that, after I pass that out, I explained that Norwex can have a positive impact on the environment. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that. Let me share some additional items. This is where I talk about the mattress cleaner, the kitchen items, the spear sponge, the counter cloths, the kitchen cloths, and the mesh dish cloths. So they know how to wash dishes, so they're not using our regular microfiber, right? We don't want them doing that. Do you do the chicken demo at every party? In other words, should I get some protein? Yes, I do them at every single party, except for one where I forgot the swab itself and I just wiped it and they were all like, oh, she wiped it up. There was no proof to it or anything, but they were all excited about it. But yes, I bring it to every single party. So yeah, I want them to know how to use the products in the kitchen. So spear sponge is great for crock pots. Mesh cloth is great for all my plates, my cups, all that kind of stuff. I let them know I do not do dishes often. It's usually going to the dishwasher. If I do wash anything, it's the large pots and pans, and I tend to use the spear sponge for that because it does not scratch. You can use it on your nonstick surfaces, glass stove tops. You can use it on your Teflon pans, but if you are using Teflon still, you should probably get rid of it. But that's another training topic, and they'll kind of laugh because they know where we're going with that. I say you can use it on your Pampered Chef stoneware. You can use it on your cast iron. You can use it just about everywhere. I love the spear sponge, and you have to have one. Okay, and then from there I say, all right, you've got purple card, you've got your green card, you've got an index card. I tell them to take their card, and I think Caroline talked about this the other day. This idea came from Heather Barkey. That's at least where I first heard it. And it is a take your card and hold it vertical, and I tell them put their name across the top and the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 down the side, right? And then after they do that, I say, number one, I want you to write down your name. Number one, I want you to write down your cell phone number, and number two, your email address. And this is a little bit different than, oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, it's like when you hear it from someone else, you're like, oh, it's that one little thing. And that's what I love about conference, because now that I've been doing this for 4.5 years, I'm not really going for the training because I really know most of what's in the training. And I don't say that like, I know it all. I go to be able to listen to the other consultants and how they're doing it, because there's little tips and tricks that they may be doing differently. And you go, oh my gosh, I never even thought about it. That is brilliant. Why am I not doing that? Let me try it. And sometimes I do it and I go, that was totally, I blew it. That did not work for me. That was not something that was for me. But I like to take those, and I go to conference now to take all those tidbits back to my team, right? Because I feel like I've been doing this for so long. I have my routine, I know it, and I have to put my eyes back in the perspective of someone else who is brand new to this or feels really nervous to do the protein demos. So it's really nice to hear how everybody else is doing their parties, right? Okay, so number one, they put down their cell phone number. Number two, they put down their email address. And then I kind of pause and I say, do any of you have a favorite recipe that everyone always asks for? Have you asked someone for a recipe? Think of Norwex as the best recipe out there. Again, all of this is typed out in the notes that you guys are gonna have, okay? Think of Norwex as the best recipe out there, and everyone wants it. Some just don't know it yet. Hosting a Norwex social like this is the best and fastest way to share. If there's a previous host that is there, which typically I have a previous host there, ask them to explain how easy it was to host a party and how much they got for free. I'm going way beyond my 30 minutes that I was trying to do, but that's okay. So after they talk, if they don't know their number ahead of time. If you know that a previous host is going to be there, go back and look to see how much they earned in free stuff, because it's always fun to throw out, oh my gosh, you got $457 in free product. And they go, really? Was it that much? I can't remember. I just know it was a lot of stuff. And I like to throw the number out there. So know that, okay? And then I say, I want you to know how generous the Norwex Host program is. This is what I come with. Some people do the stack the guest. I just found it was more product to bring. And like I said in the beginning, I hate bringing a ton of stuff, so I don't. I bring this. I talk about the 4 different ways, the 4-star hostess program and how you can earn. I do mention, I make sure they understand that when you have a booking, which is awesome, and I hope someone here helps out our host tonight, that's how you're gonna earn all the extra host items that are underneath these columns. I pass this around for everyone. I do one printed out in color in a sheet like this, a sheet protector. And then in the back, I have the black and white version. This is what I'll leave with the host, and I'll circle where she's at, because it's too expensive to print out 1 million of these. I don't like doing that. So black and white version. This is in our back office. You can find it there. So I pass this around, let everyone see. I even asked the current host, was this pretty easy to host? Absolutely. Yeah, yada, yada. I say, okay, for number 3, if you or anyone you know may be interested in hosting a Norwex social, whether it's a U+2 or a U+10, go ahead and write down yes, no, or maybe. If there's a large group here at that party, right? Some people are gonna be really nervous thinking they need that many people at a party. So I like to say U+2 is gonna be a party, U+10 is gonna be awesome, right? So you don't have to have that many people at a party. After they do that, I say, okay, we've got our green cards. I want them to read off their green cards. I'm sorry, I forgot. With these purple cards, I have them do this before our index cards, before they come out. I just have them read off some of the different environmental impacts of the items so that we can just go through it really, really quick. There's nothing that we're spending a lot of time on. I just want them to know the facts and information and leave them with something to think about, but I don't want them to dwell on, oh my gosh, this is all doom and gloom and we're killing ourselves, we're killing the environment. I just want it to kind of slowly start to sink in. Does that make sense? So I do that before I hand out the index cards. Forgot to add that in there. Okay, so with their blue or their green cards, I say, okay, for number 4, you have a green card in your lap, and Norwex offers 3 amazing options. You may like what you have heard tonight, so go ahead and place an order. You may love what you have heard and learned tonight, and you want to host a social of your own. You may want it all, and you want to share it with others. Our business opportunity is the best we have to offer. Let's talk about some of the most common questions, okay? And then have them go through and read their cards. Answer them. Don't spend too much time on them. I always plan out what cards I'm giving them ahead of time. When I know how many people are going to be there, I pick and choose the cards that are going to be read because I always want to make sure the important ones, how much does it cost to get started? that has to be. Sometimes people don't pick that one. I'm like, what? That's like the most important one. So I choose and I put it in the order that I want so that I can go around the room and answer them in order, okay? So then I say, after I answer all those questions, I say, okay, then for number 4, if you or someone you know may be interested in hearing more about the business opportunity, just write down yes, no, or maybe, and I can send you home with a little brochure tonight. And I use that little square Norwex opportunity brochure that they updated, I think it was just about a year ago. Love it, it's absolutely brilliant. Oh, maybe they updated it just at leadership conference. I love it, super simple. That's all I send home with them. I don't have any cutesy bags that I send home about the Norwex business opportunity. I've tried it before, they were cute. It was just time consuming. I don't have time for that. I got 4 kids, I need it quick. And I really want everybody there to see this is really easy. She doesn't have anything fancy or special. I don't have to go out to the printer and have this stuff printed off. So keep that in mind at your parties, okay? After they filled it all out, I tell them, make sure you have answered every single question, 1, 2, 3, and 4, because I'm gonna be doing a drawing, and if you have not answered them all completely, we're gonna pull another name. So I want them to make sure they're answering yes, no, or maybe for question number 3 and 4. I collect all the cards, and then I just pull some winners, depending on how many people are there. Travel and viral cloth is typically in there, usually 2 of those, and then if I have a bigger group, then I may throw in a makeup removal cloth. I've done little sample bottles that I've created before too, because I like to get consumables in their hand. It all depends on how much time I have, and right now in summer at home with 4 kids, there's 0 time. So it's a travel and viral pack is what I bring with, because I get them with my shopping sprees, so it's free. So I don't have to worry about that. So I pass those out. I congratulate the winners, they're all excited, and then I tell them, turn your attention back to the catalog, the order form. I say where their order form is at. That's where you can find our grouped package specials, where you're gonna save 10%. You cannot switch out any of the color cloths that are in here, but this is where you're gonna save the most money. Let me talk about the specials, and I do the same thing. I have this in there, so specials, so that they can see them. Depending on what the specials are, I do not talk about all of the items in the special. Sometimes I'm like, it's not really important if you're new to Norwex. I don't even wanna go there yet. So this is something I'll decide ahead of time, and if there's something that I wanna bring that's part of this, that I don't have part of my regular kit, I'll bring it with. A lot of times, if there's a bath towel in there, I'll wanna bring that so they can see how big it is. Other times, if I'm like, I got too much, I don't want to bring any more, I can't fit it in my bag, I just bring a hand towel so they can feel how thin it is, and that's what I do instead. Sometimes I don't even talk about the spend and get until they're checking out, because it's so overwhelming already. At this point, everyone's head is spinning to like, okay, it's a totally different way to clean, I'm not gonna have my smell, and how do I care for it again, and what is the sale, and where do I even begin? And I want people to feel really comfortable when they leave that they're making the right decision. So sometimes I'll have the specials right there at checkout, and then when they're checking out, I'll say, oh, you know, you're already at $85. If you just add on another $10, you're gonna get this for just $5. Oh, really? What else should I get? Sperry sponges are great. You should add the Sperry sponges to that order. And so that's when I'm talking with them one-on-one, right? Because we know Norwex is totally amazing, but it's a lot to take in all at once, right? Okay, so while the guests are browsing through the catalog, making their list, that's when I pass around a basket of personal care products for them to look at. I'll get mine out. Okay, so my personal care products, this is my little baggie. Can you see that? Okay, so I've got my body balm in there. I got the little sample of the kids wash, the serum, hand cream, crystal deodorant, and the shower gel. So I have this there so that way they can kind of mingle and talk and have their attention still on Norwex instead of talking about little Joey's soccer game that they just had. I want them to stay focused, and I don't like to talk about all of that stuff through the regular party. So sometimes if they have questions, happy to answer about that. I just want them to know we do have personal care products, and if they host a party, then they're gonna get to know more about it at their party. We can bring one of them in particular, and I can be specific about that item. When we do checkout, I match up their index cards to see who was interested in hosting or who's interested in the business opportunity. I use, on my phone, I use salestaxstates.com. Again, this will be in the notes that I will post so that you can have it. Do you give away a whole travel pack? No, I just do one. I just take out one at a time, and that's it. And I allow the host to be in there too in the giveaway. And if she wins, then I always take out another one. I say, oh, the host, she shouldn't get anything, but I'm gonna be nice today, so I'm gonna pull another winner. That's what I do. So I use the salestaxstates.com to find the tax rate. Depending on where you live, you can look in your back office. All the way down at the bottom, it says shipping. I've been using the balm on the window. Oh, smart. That's smart, but it's expensive. It's expensive to put that on the window. I like it for my elbows. So if you look at shipping all the way at the bottom, you can click on it and see what states charge tax on shipping. For us in Illinois, we don't charge tax on shipping, which is funny because we charge tax on everything else. But I like to see the zip code and plug that in. For me, personally, I direct ship to everybody and they just pay the full shipping charge. So for you, if you're newer, I would suggest doing the party shipping and not exploring outside of that yet, especially if you're doing just a few parties a month. It's a little easier to control and manage. It's fine. I found when I got to the point when I was doing 6 to 8 parties a month, I like to enter their order and have it shipped right away. And that way I don't have to wait to close that party and then try to get everybody's order in. So everybody is just, they pay direct shipping rate, and that's it. When I first started doing direct shipping rate, I let everybody have $5.95 as their shipping rate, just as if it were being shipped to the party, and I would take that $1 or $2 difference out of my commission. And then the beginning of this year, I'm like, okay, we're gonna start at $6.95 since that's the minimum for shipping anyways. And I think I got like a month and a half in, I'm like, one party I just was putting in the regular price and no one questioned it. I'm like, forget it. I'm not giving the discount there. I'm just charging the full price. And no one ever asked. I think I've had maybe a handful of times, 3, 4, 5 times, people have had, said something about the shipping, but I overcome that right away and I don't have to worry about that. So I just want to show you, there's one girl who's part of this group right now. She's a newer consultant and I just thought this was funny. So I'm going to share with you. So this was Lisa's card, right? This index card was from the second time she hosted with me. The first time was, I was a year and a half in, I think was the first time that she hosted. And I wasn't doing this yet. But then she hosted again earlier this summer and she had said maybe to hosting again and maybe to the business opportunity, right? She actually ended up booking another party for herself in September. So we did get that one scheduled. And then this one, yes, this one she said for the party, yeah, see you in September, because that's when she had set hers again, because she was a host. I always try to rebook the host because why not, right? And then number 4 for the business opportunity, maybe. I keep thinking about it. I'm like, you're getting closer. You're gonna be there. And then this one, it was, yes, finally. So it's fun to have these cards. I love using these to go back to. This is like my hot, warm, cold lead. To have these are immeasurable. And sometimes people are leaving early or they want to look at the order form, right, and get back to you. If you have this information in hand, then you can follow up with them. You don't have to, as they're leaving, say, oh, can you write down your cell phone number? Because you just did this because they want to stay for that giveaway. But when it comes time to order, they may want to take it home and think about it or talk with their husband, which I always say that's fine. I'm pro-marriage. I don't want to be breaking up a marriage over what you're spending. But now I have that information so that I can go back and ask them later, right? So while you're checking out, you pass those around. What was it? I can't remember, Melissa, when you typed that in, what was I passing around? Was it the personal care products? If it was that, yes, I pass those around so they can all play with them and look at them too. So that's it. So that's it. When I am at checkout, I don't need to talk about the recruiting part because that's another part that another consultant will talk about. But for getting the bookings, I always make sure that I have my calendar with me. You can just do something like this. So you see I have the dates that are available, and as people pick them, I just highlight them so they know it's not available anymore. And I just have them write down their name next to the date, and then I can fill out the information when I get home from the party. But I always have dates available. I don't like to open up a big calendar and have it look confusing, so if they can just see what the dates are, we can fit it in for someone. I am a big proponent of getting that date penciled in before they leave, because we know once they leave, it's going to be so difficult to track them down. If they're a friend, you don't want to feel like you're that person who's just like, oh, give me that booking, where's that booking, where's that booking? So I always say there's some booking objections that I can overcome pretty quickly, and I get that date down. And I always say we're not writing in blood, we're writing it down in pencil. We can erase and change it to another date if we need to. If someone says, let me check with my friends, I say pick a date first, and that way when you go to your friends, you can say, I'm planning on hosting a party on Friday the 13th. Is this day something that would work for you? Yes, no, maybe, great. If you're finding that most of them are yes, then we've got that date already set. I don't think that there is any training about overcoming booking objections, but I did a training on that 2 years ago, and I've got it in a file, so I will put that in this unit as well for overcoming the booking objections, because that's really important to have and know and practice, so that when you get to the end and they say, oh, I'm not sure, I think I want you, but I'm going to give you a call, and you're just like, okay, because you're just excited that someone said yes to a booking. It's going to be so hard to track them down, so you want to get that booking on the calendar right away. All right, that's it, guys. Do you guys have any questions about the home party aspect? Is there anything that was kind of light bulb moment for you? If you do, I'd love to hear it in the comments. I will put both, I'll post the image for your homework for you guys to do. I want you to practice a party at home, lay your stuff out how you would at a party, and kind of go through the motions of talking about it. I've done that a million times myself. I do that often if I decide I want to try something else. Yes, I do pass around the body products. Yes, it was Melissa. So usually when I'm driving to a party, that's when I'm kind of practicing to see what is something new, and I'll say the same thing 5-6 times until I feel comfortable, and then sometimes I'll get to the party and I forgot to even say it because it was distracted. But anywho, you'll have all these notes of everything I talked about today will be printed out, so you guys can take a look at those. I'll post the training that I had done before on overcoming booking objections. There will be your homework, which is to try to practice a party at home and incorporate something new that you're not doing already to see if you're comfortable with it. And that's it. I hope you guys have an awesome and amazing day and weekend. More training to come tomorrow. And I hope you guys are seriously loving this, because there's so much great training in here. So many amazing nuggets that even there's stuff I'm taking away from it. So I hope you guys are just totally being blessed by this. You guys are awesome. You rock, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.